Had to
different
catch up.
laws, exactly, yeah. And then another one of my old standards, this is one of my favorites. This is for people, obviously, with vision trouble. It will also boost the volume of people's speech.
Yeah.
So it gets loud, it's got these big numbers on it, and it does talkback. So if you dial the numbers, it will tell you what you're pressing.
Oh, okay.
So if you have vision trouble and you dial, say, 508, and you hear a voice in the phone say 509, you know you have to hang up before you dial a wrong number, which can be extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
And what I like about this one is it's just simple, easy to use, and believe it or not, if you go into stores nowadays, you can never find something with just big, simple buttons.
Yeah.
So to get something like this can be great. And you can also save numbers into it.
And I see that there's emergency buttons up on top.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, being that they do blend into the background, have they ever accidentally been pushed? And what do you do if you do that?
That's an excellent question.
Well, thank you.
When I do like a home evaluation for someone, I kind of try and get a sense of how well they can read the numbers. So if they really have trouble reading the numbers, I'll want to save 911 in for them if they're comfortable with that. And then I'll mark it with like a piece of Velcro or a bump sticker, something that sets it apart from the other numbers. And then if they can see these well enough to dial, I usually say I'd rather have you dial directly 911 instead of using like a one-touch button, just to keep the mistakes to a minimum.
Now it says, what's the memory? That is, it's just the programmed numbers.
Like a frequently
having your
dialed
son
numbers.
in there, your daughter in there,
exactly.
and so forth.
And I get arguments over who gets put in first and second. But it'll save 10 numbers, and especially good for people with vision trouble, because not only can it be hard to see your numbers, but it's hard to read your address book. So if they're just locked in the phone, you know where they are.
Interesting. All right. It's in that red panel at the bottom. That's just showing them they gotta it just tells them they got a call.
Yeah, it'll just flash. Yeah, it can be a signaler if you have a lot of trouble hearing the ring.
I wish I had one of those. That'd be.
I
think that should come on every phone. A little bat phone.
And then another one of, pardon me, my interesting ones. This one, I love this one. This one's for, it can serve a lot of different purposes, but it's designed for someone who maybe has a cognitive disability.
Okay.
So
facial recognition?
Yeah. Okay. So what you can do is each one of these little squares, you can put a photograph of a friend or a family member or a business or whatever number you need to remember. And then when you see the picture of, say, your son, you can hit the button with your son on it, and it will call your son's number.
Interesting. So Brad Pitt couldn't use this.
Brad Pitt? No.
I don't even remember the name of the disorder, but it was just on the news. He can't recognize faces.
Yeah.
Very strange.
He would need a different phone.
Yeah, he would. Yes. Yeah, we'd have to write the names.
He could afford a different phone.
Right.
So this is let's see, what have we got? 9 different boxes up there, so they can have photos, and it's just the same thing with the memory thing. So you're just attaching it to a face this time.
Yeah, and for some people, this phone is good for other applications too. Like if I have someone who is, say, totally blind, has no vision at all, since these buttons are so easy to press, sometimes I'll mark them with like different tactile things.
Okay.
So I will put a swirl of glue on the first button, and that's their son's number. Then their daughter would be a Velcro piece.
I would be warm and fuzzy. So
right.
That would
you
be,
could
yes,
be the warm and fuzzy Velcro, right? And then the pizza place down the street could be a bump sticker or whatever.
Could be a piece of pepperoni.
Or a piece of dried pepperoni, exactly. So it gives us a lot of options, which I like.
Okay.
And it has a speakerphone. I actually just gave this one to someone who was legally blind, and he loved the memory buttons and the speakerphone because he listens to a recording of the newspaper. That's something the Commission of the Blind provides. And he could just turn on the speakerphone and sit in his chair and listen to the Globe being read to him.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I was going to say, my father is almost strictly using speakerphone now.
Yeah.
And so are the speakers good quality?
Very good, clear, loud, yeah.
Yeah, that's huge because he has a hard time just talking on a regular phone now because of his hearing aids?
Definitely. A lot of times people with hearing aids react better to the speakerphone because there's less interference between the two.
Okay.
That said, all of the phones are made to be hearing aid compatible, but it's such an individual thing that we sometimes have to go with a speakerphone or something like that. But we can figure out a way to make it work, though. And then my last kind of extraordinary one, this one here, is also...
It's like an office phone.
Yeah, kind of. It's just a speakerphone. So, yeah, it's sort of like a phone you might see in a conference room or something. Yeah. But what this is designed for is for people who have severe disabilities, like someone who's quadriplegic,
Okay.
or I'll see people with ALS or MS. And they're usually people that would have no way to use an ordinary telephone.
Is it voice activated?
Yeah, so you can answer it with your voice. We can equip it with a voice dialer. Or there are some other devices that we can attach to it, like a puff switch, so you can blow into a switch and it will answer the phone.
Interesting.
And then we save frequently called numbers, or even 411 lots of times, and you can puff into it to turn it on.
Wow.
And then say, you know, I want to call Bank of America or whoever, and the operator will connect you and you have your conversation, and when you're done, you puff in your switch again and shut it off. So these ones are very rewarding to go do, because really you're giving somebody the ability to
reach out.
Yeah, have a connection that where they couldn't before. So
that's
I
huge.
like that one.
Now what's that one called?
This is called the RC200.
What's this? What's a general name for for that kind of system?
I would say, I guess a voice-activated speakerphone.
Okay.
I mean, there's
Fair
no
enough.
real. I've never seen anything else really like this kind.
Yeah, no, that's slick. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I'll be getting that for my getting that for my folks.
Excellent. Yeah.
So now these programs. How long has Mass EDP been around?
Mass EDP has officially been a state program for the last, I think it'll be 4 years in July.
4
Before
years.
that, Verizon ran a similar program, and then the state had always financed it. So about 4 years ago, we took over from Verizon. So if people had signed up in the past with Verizon, they're still covered under our program, so they wouldn't need to reapply or anything like that.
So we'll be putting some information up. What is just so people can contact that?
Sure.
But if you could just state how people could get a hold of the program, that'd be great. How do they get connected?
It's just one number. The office is down in Taunton, and it's 1-800-300-5658. And the
One more time.
Oh, 1-800-300-5658.
Thank you, and I'll make sure that that's written below while you're saying it. And then the website?
The website is part of the Massachusetts state website, so it's mass.gov/massedp.
Okay.
And there's applications you can download on the website. There's pictures and descriptions of all the different phones, and then the people at the office would be happy to give you any information you need to.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the information. And can you let everybody know how they can get a hold of Life Care Center of Plymouth?
Absolutely. So you can either find us on our website if you go to Life Care Centers of America, or you can call us. The number is... I don't know.
It's quite all right. She doesn't know the number, but it will be underneath her while she's saying, I don't know.
Sorry.
Andrea and Chris Plant, thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate having you.
It's been a
And thanks
pleasure.
for educating us about rehab services.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for listening to another episode of Health Naturally. See you next time.